We are getting started a little early today because John and I are a little tired.
What? No.
Right. We have been hitting the gym pretty hard, and both of us have pretty sore legs. No, John, not the kind of sore from raising your legs in the air. John likes
This is a G-rated show.
No, it's never a G-rated show.
It is PG-17.
But normally we record these around 5:30 Pacific time, but today we decided to get things started a little early so that we could take a break this evening. So
We're a break.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks.
So we'll welcome you to Queer Money follow-up number 65. This is day 65 in a row that we've done this, right? And our question for you today is, do you remember Sasha Velour's rose petal reveal on Drag Race? Now, I will say that
we're going to lose our gay card.
I will say that I am not a regular follower of drag or Drag Race or the drag culture. John and I have been to drag shows and went to several in Denver when Drag Nation was being filmed at tracks in Denver and enjoyed those, and went to a Christmas special that was put on by a bunch of the queens who had participated in Drag Race. But it wasn't necessarily, this is not necessarily something we follow. But what was so interesting is the reason why I remember this particular event was because the gay blogosphere, or I guess gay social media, just blew the fuck up with this. It was like everywhere for like a week. Everyone would not stop talking about this whole Sasha Velour's rose petal reveal and how amazing it was. And it's interesting because I think that there's a certain level of a lot of us who crave that kind, wanting to have that kind of
impact
drama,
yeah.
impact drama, whatever the case may be. I think, one of the perfect examples of this is when you see individuals who show up to a party and are trying to outdress everyone, or gala events where individuals try to walk in the room as if they're being announced to the Queen's Court, right? So exactly. So we wanted to talk a little bit about this whole idea of being memorable or standing out. Yeah, exactly. And this is brought on by our discussion from Queer Money Podcast 65, where we interviewed
Carlos Daniel Flores.
Right, I was going to say Carlos Flores, and he is a director of movies, and we met him through the Queer Cinema Film Festival in Denver, and we talked about this particular episode. We talked about gay artists who stand out because they go to alternative cities. So that's where we got our start with this particular episode.
So Carlos Daniel Flores is the director of the short movie I Stand Still, and he joined us for this particular episode, as well as the lead actress, Rachel Herring Finley. Then we kind of talked about how they both chose to not actually go to LA or New York. They wanted to pave a slightly different path because those markets are pretty much saturated. And while the financial opportunities weren't necessarily as quick, the opportunities to climb up the ladder within the both of their fields was a little bit greater if they would chose something that was kind of outside the norm. And actually, Rachel had shared with us that there's actually a hub of actors and actresses who travel between or among Santa Fe, Canada, and Denver,
Atlanta, or Georgia as well,
and Georgia as well. Yeah, a few, and Georgia was not too much of a surprise for us, but Denver, Santa Fe, and Canada was somewhat of a surprise to us. So that we kind of talked about how as you're trying to break out, especially in these very competitive, saturated industries, how do you stand out? And so one of the themes of this particular episode was talking about authenticity and not conforming. And this seems to be a stream of consciousness that we had during this time frame of the Queer Money podcast,
or just something John and David talk a lot about.
Exactly, because there were several episodes back to back, even going back to episode 63. We're now in episode 65, kind of having a similar discussion. And episode 63, you might recall, if you go back and look at 63 of the Queer Money follow-up series, we talked with Robert Carter, who is a ballet dancer for La Ballet Trocadero de Monte Carlo.
John loves saying that. This is the third episode in a row where he's been able to say it.
We have the link to that episode in the description below. But we talked about the need to be authentic and to not be so concerned about what others think about us. And Carlos said, just start creating whatever way you find yourself compelled to create, and don't worry too much about what everybody else thinks. Yeah. And that's exactly what Robert Carter said as he was growing up as a young gay black boy in Charleston, South Carolina, with a tentatively accepting father. That he just felt, I have to do what I want to do so that I can be my best self and live my best life.
Yeah. I think it's interesting because oftentimes, and I will 100% without knowing for certain say that this is what's happening with drag culture, right? Everyone wants to be out there at the front. Everybody wants to be like Nina Flowers, RuPaul, Peppermint, there's all these drag queens are out there that are very, very, very well known, right? And then what ends up happening is that there's a lot of drag queens that don't really stand out because they're all basically doing the exact same thing, right? And so the question is, how are you going to do what you want to do so that you are slightly different?
Right.
And sometimes it's not just adding another sequin or being able to be more dramatic. Sometimes it actually takes some real thought as to what it means to not follow the crowd so that you actually do stand out. And the point isn't necessarily standing out just so you can stand out, but stand out because of what it can do for you and your level of confidence. Stand out because it allows you to gain a level of success. And I think that was the thing, John and I really appreciated about Sasha Velour when we went to the Christmas special, was that it seemed like Sasha was a little bit more of an artist. And there was some artistry to what she was doing compared to most drag.
Hers was a little bit more, slightly avant-garde.
Right, avant-garde, more refined. There was some technique to it that we just had never seen before. Again,
or among the other girls that were there. And the thing is we're not necessarily saying that we all need to be Sasha Velour,
right?
But because we can stand out in our own way. That's the thing. And I think so many of us kind of just have this group thing. We kind of conform to what the crowd is doing, and then we don't stand out. Whereas Sasha she did this rose petal reveal, which is kind of took it to a new level, and then she's obviously has even moved it beyond that. And again, the answer isn't to become Sasha Velour, but it's become thinking for yourself, thinking outside the box, thinking about what unique talent you have or what twist that you can bring to whatever it is that you're doing, so that you can then stand out and not only get the confidence but get the financial and the career gains from it as well.
Right. And I think when you think about it, the being able to stand out allows you to differentiate yourself from the crowd. When you look at what individuals are doing on Instagram, when you look what people are doing on TikTok, and you see this kind of cookie cutter over and over and over again, there is a certain level of replicating what other people do that allows for success. But at a certain point, when everyone is doing it, then it's similar to the expression, when you're trying to talk to everyone, you're really talking to no one, right? And when you're trying to impress everyone, you're really impressing no one.
Right.
And when you're trying to stand out in the crowd, but you're doing what the crowd is doing, it is likely that you will not stand out enough to get to the level of success that you want. And that was perfectly clear to John and I when we went to our very first FinCon, which is a conference for financial bloggers, podcasters, people in the financial media. It became pretty clear to us that one of the easiest ways for us to stand out was to come out as gay bloggers, in the personal finance space. There was no one who was out, not a single person. There were a couple of people who had written books. There was kind of the discussion that, Susie Orman is gay, but she doesn't ever talk about gay topics.
She is now. Now the NGLCC is paying her a bunch of money to speak at their next conference.
Right. Yeah. Now she knows. Yeah, exactly.
Now she realizes there's money in it.
Right. But a lot of the success that we have had, the reason why we've been on Huffington Post, on CNBC, in Forbes, in a variety of publications, is because we were the ones who, I think it's Les Brown, who says, go where there is no path and leave a trail to follow. Right. And now you go on Instagram and you go on the blogosphere, and even we have a page on our website that lists that there are a lot of queer people who are now starting to talk about personal finance. And a number of them have told us that they're thankful to us because we actually did that first. We were the ones out there talking about it. Although I will say I wish that there were more who are actually writing about queer topics, not just being queer people in personal finance.
Yeah. And the whole point, though, is to what Carlos was getting at, what Robert Carter was getting at, what Patrick Riley got at a few episodes even prior to that, is following the crowd just means you're going to blend in with the crowd. So if you're trying to stand out, if you're trying to add your unique value, if you're trying to live your purpose, the reason why you've been put on this earth, you weren't put on this earth to sort of follow the crowd. You're put on this earth to contribute something different. So, yes, see what other people are doing. Yes, see what works, but also be cognizant of what doesn't work or what actually you can do better so that you can stand out and you can help not only yourself, but you being yourself can help the rest of society become even better. And as Carlos said, it all comes down to whether you're willing to put in the effort. And sometimes I think that we're not willing to put in the effort because the effort takes energy. Sometimes the effort is hard. Sometimes the results don't come easily. But that's actually where the magic happens, right? Otherwise, you're just doing what everybody else is doing, and there's no excitement in that.
Well, and going back to that Les Brown quote of "Go where there is no path and leave a trail to follow," it is going to take effort, right? If you're going to do something, it's very, very, very rare that you do something that is different from the crowd and immediately it becomes viral or everyone wants a piece of it or you achieve great heights of success.
Unless you lip sync dreams with Ocean Spray.
Right. But it's very rare that this happens, right? So be prepared that when you do go, really there's kind of basically two ways to look at it. You can follow the crowd and less likely that you will achieve success, or you can do your own thing and put forth a little bit more effort, right? Because when we follow the crowd, we get caught up in what the crowd is doing and we watch what the crowd is doing and we replicate what the crowd is doing. That means there's already somebody else that's an example of what to do and ways to do it successfully, right? But we will never be as successful or likely not be as successful as those individuals out at the very front. Or we can put forth the effort and create that path ourselves and reap the rewards.
100%. So thank you for joining us for another Queer Money Follow-Up. Here's your Queer Money Follow-Up takeaway from this episode. Go to debtfreeguys.com/happy and download your free copy of the 5 building blocks of a happy gay life, in which we talk a little bit about paving your unique path. Then let us know in the comments below if you happen to remember Sasha Velour's rose petal reveal on Drag Race. And if you don't, bad gay, go on YouTube and search for it. Then join us tomorrow for episode 66 of the Queer Money Follow-Up series titled MassMutual's LGBTQ Financial Security Study. Then lastly but not leastly, please give this video a thumbs up. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel and please set notifications on this channel so you know when we do these lives in the future, especially if we don't do them when we say we're going to do them, because we can't be held accountable to our schedule. Thank you for joining us.
We needed a night off, so we will try to get back to our normally scheduled time tomorrow.
Exactly. So have a good night and thank you.